Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Navin, and today I'll be taking you through the preparation of next year, CAT 2023. And we are going to look into the LRDI topics that come in CAT more often and what are the weightages of those. So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Subendu. Good afternoon, Varun. So, what are the different topics that we actually come across when it comes to LRDI? So let's talk about logical reasoning. So when we look into the CAT exam and XAT and other exams, so they have got certain similarity, CAT and XAT, while other exams have certain similarity. For example, there are questions on directions, encoding, decoding that never come in CAT or XAT, but we do get such questions in other exams. So which topics are the most important ones? So the first one that is the most important is the arrangement types. Okay, so if I look into the last 5-year paper of CAT, arrangement has been around 40% of the questions, the most often you are asked. For example, if you remember 4 years ago, there was a set in LR where there were the sitting arrangement of people in an aeroplane. So you had a window seat, you had a middle seat, you had an aisle seat. So you had a seat like that. Then when it comes to next one, it's a combination. Now arrangement will consist of sitting arrangement, linear or symmetrical. That is included in arrangement. Okay. Next is the combination. Now combination may come along with arrangement or it may be a completely separate part. So what is combination and how is it different from arrangement? In the case of arrangement, you have to find out the sequence of people depending upon their age, height, or maybe, it will be given they are seated or they are standing in a certain sequence in a queue or in a row. The combination has to do with a person is wearing which particular color t-shirt or which brand t-shirt or how much money did they have. So combination is the next important one, which is going to be around 20% of the questions. So if I say if we have, let's say, 5 questions, then out of 5, 2 are arrangement and 1 is from combination. After these two, the next 2 important ones are set theory and then you have got games and tournament. Now there are different difficulty levels of whether I talk about set theory or games and tournament, and a lot of students, they are not comfortable with games and tournament because of so much of caselets that are formed and there is so much of reasoning involved. So if I combine them, this constitutes around 20% weightage. As in, so far there has not been a single year where in the same slot you have had questions from both of these topics at once. So you're going to get a question from set theory or it's going to be games and tournament. And if you're going to get a question from set theory, it's going to be more of a logical approach rather than your De Morgan's theorem or calculation. And if you are going to get a question from set theory, which is a 6-question set, so be prepared and practice a lot on 4-set Venn diagrams. Okay. When it comes to games and tournament, if it's an easy one, it's going to be 4 or 6 teams that are playing against each other, a typical round robin or a knockout. Or if it's a 6-question set, games and tournament, it has to do with more than 6 teams. It may be 8, 10, 12 teams. Or if it's a knockout tournament, you may have like 64, 128, 256 teams that they are playing. So if it's more logical approach, you will get a 6-question set. If it's more calculation based approach, you will get a 4-question set from each of the set theory or games and tournament. Next comes in Caselets based. Now this has been a more prevalent topic in the recent years because Caselets has been there since the very beginning, but these are more prevalent, as in you specifically will get sets where you have a scenario where you will get more than 2 cases. So there are going to be so many possibilities. You may get 6 cases, you're going to get 8 cases, or you may get so many cases that you can't really figure it out unless and until you read the questions. Okay. So this constitutes, it has a weightage of around 10%. So it's not so very often found, but this has come more in the recent years. Now, after caselets, then we have got rank-based. Now, rank-based is similar to arrangement, but it uses more of comparative and superlative degree that we study in English. So there are 5 people and one of them is taller than the other and shorter than the next. The one who is heavier is the shorter, the one who is taller is the lighter, and so on and so forth. So rank based questions are also there. It's very less. It's not enough, as in it doesn't hold so much of weightage. Okay. Normally arrangement and rank based, they come together. Combination arrangement, they come together. So it's very difficult to segregate a particular LR set that it's a question only based on combination. It's more about within the given set. Did you have to more concentrate on the combination and make cases on it, or solve it accordingly, or do you have to make more of combination thing? So that decides as to what kind of LR set it is. Okay. Then apart from these, you have got analytical reasoning. Analytical reasoning is the reasoning where the concept of quant is required. For example, arithmetic, and within arithmetic, ratio logic, average logic. When it comes to numbers, it may have to do with odd, even, prime, composite, number of factors, remainders. ठीक है? So analytical reasoning आना शुरू हो गया. Next one is puzzle. Okay, puzzle and board games. So they constitute remaining 5% weightage. Okay, so puzzle and board games, they are difficult sometimes because if I talk about the overall janta. Reason being, not everyone plays board games. For example, I'm not sure if everyone is good at chess. And it's not about being good at chess. Actually, it's more about, do you know the rules? Do you know how the pieces move? Do you know what are their names? And if I don't talk about chess, if I talk about Mahjong, do you know how it is played? Do you know how checkers are played? Right? So there are so many board games. Most of them are Chinese board games. That are we aware of them? Because if you know the rules beforehand, it becomes very easy. You have had questions very similar to Minesweeper. So if you have never played a game of Minesweeper on your computer, on your laptop, then you would not know how it works. So it will become very difficult to adapt when it comes to your CAT exam. So you should play more of board games and you should start doing puzzles. Now, what kind of puzzles? Sudoku, it's a puzzle, right? Crosswords. It's a puzzle. It's not about the content. It's more about how you solve them. What are the rules involved? Okay. Then you have got certain puzzles which are based on truth and lies. There are 4 people. One of them always speaks the truth. One always speaks lie. One alternates between truth and lie, starting with truth. And the 4th guy alternates between lie and truth, starting with lie. And then everyone speaks some statement or the other about certain incident or certain person. And from there, you have to figure out how it works. Now, all of these types of LR sets, none of them will be like, it's an easy topic. No, it depends on the level of difficulty. So each of these LR sets have 3 different level of difficulties. We call them as level of difficulty 1, 2, and 3. Level of difficulty 2 or 3 is more prevalent in the case of caselets. Caselets के क्वेश्चन हमेशा मॉडरेट या डिफिकल्ट होता है, ठीक है? Then they're not easy. It is always time consuming. Time wise also, it takes a lot to solve them, and the statements, the English used for the additional information, they are written in such a way that it is actually not easy to comprehend. पढ़ तो लोगे पर समझ में हमेशा नहीं आए. So there are tricks involved, right? Set theory and games and tournament, they are generally of moderate difficulty level. They are not very difficult. They do not, CAT doesn't give you very difficult questions from these two. They may be time consuming, but understanding wise, they're not difficult. When it comes to arrangement and combination, they're of level of difficulty 1 or 2. That's a good thing. That means when you are solving questions, sectional tests, topic tests, mocks, previous year papers, whenever you come across questions on arrangement and combination, try your best to solve them, because they may look difficult, but they are generally not. When it comes to rank-based, these are moderate ones. Analytical and puzzle board games, these are easy to moderate ones. So 1 bole to easy level, 2 bole to moderate, and 3 bole to difficult. So LOD is level of difficulty. Now, you do get some miscellaneous types, which sometimes it's difficult to put it in one particular type of LR. For example, you may get a question on timeline based. Now, what is a timeline based? So if you guys are regular users of Facebook, you may have come across that every year they put your entire profile and everything that you have done in a timeline. So in this particular year, in this particular month, you posted these photographs, you commented on this was the anniversary or the birthday that you celebrated, right? All of those are put in a timeline based. So timeline based questions are also there, which is actually a part of arrangement as well. But it has more to do with how you sequence it. So when you have a timeline based question, you sequence it as per the dates, as per the months or days of the week. Generally, the questions are framed in such a way. Okay? So these are like some miscellaneous ones that are not really that important. Okay? So I shouldn't put a star here. Hold on. Okay. So if you actually target arrangement, combination, set theory, games and tournament, and caselets, you will be able to solve 2 to 3 sets out of 4 sets. Kafi hoga. That is our target, right? We do not try to solve all the 4 sets. That's next to impossible, right? So your target is 2 sets. 1 set of 6 questions, another set of 4 questions. 10 questions you are done, you are through. As in, you will have a very, very good, nice percentile. Not decent, but much better than decent. If you solve 2 sets of 4 questions, 4 questions each, it will be good enough. It will be decent, but it won't be great. Okay. Somehow, if you are able to solve 3 sets, 4, 4, and 6, it's very difficult to solve 6, 6, and 4. You get 6 question sets, they are generally time consuming. So, and you have only 40 minutes, right? Assuming that next year we're going to have 40 minutes section. So 4, 4, and 6 is relatively easier as compared to 6 question, 4 question wale sets. So there are some students who are facing this issue that they are able to solve 2 sets. They don't face any problem. But the moment they move over to 3 sets, they are not able to solve 3 sets first thing. And then they tend to make more mistakes. So 2 sets karne pe jo score aata hai, it's the same score or even lesser score when somebody attempts 3 sets, same student, right? It's because when you're trying to do more of work, if you're trying to solve more questions, so obviously you're going to spend less time in every question and you're going to be in a hurry. And if you're going to be in a hurry, accuracy is always going to take a backseat. This happens in all the sections, right? You may have come across the same issue when it comes to VRC majorly. So if you are doing 3 sets, make sure that you go for a 4 question set, a 6 question set in any order first. Don't attempt 4 question and 4 question set. Don't do that. Tab to third set 6 question ka nahi hoga. So initially your target is to solve 4 question and 6 question set, and then you move to the 4 question set. If you are able to attempt these 14 questions, this is attempts, you will not be able to solve all 14 of them correct. Ye nahi hone wala. You will always make mistake, couple of them. Maybe you will not be able to solve couple of them from one of the sets because it was lengthy, you did not understand the language, the options did not match one case or the other. So out of these 14 questions, even if you make sure that your 11 or 12 questions are correct, मतलब 1, 2 से 3 गलती भी हो जाए अगर, then you will do fairly good, right? It will be great. It's going to be much better. I mean, it's going to be at least same as attempting only 2 sets, पर उससे better भी हो सकता है. right? So yeah, this is the solution if you guys are looking to solve 3 sets out of 4 sets in CAT. Okay. CAT exam, does the level of difficulty in slots vary? No, Varun. The level of difficulty doesn't vary. Otherwise, it will be an issue from the CAT perspective, because then they will be they'll be getting complaints as to this. Somebody will say that their slot was difficult, so they couldn't attempt a lot of questions. So that doesn't happen. So the slot level the level of difficulty for every slot in every section and overall paper will remain same. हाँ, थोड़ा सा change हो सकता है. For example, quant was easy to moderate in one of the slots. In the next slot, it was moderate. It wasn't easy. So you had less questions which were easy. But it won't happen that in one of the slots, a particular section was easy, and in the other slot, the same section was difficult. Itna vary nahi karega. So it will stand between easy to easy moderate to moderate, moderate difficult to moderate. Difficult wala section to aap dekh lo, last 3 years analysis, if you look into it, you will never come across a section which was difficult overall. Okay. हाँ Raj, we have already started one batch for CAT 2023. The other batch is just about to start, and another batch will also start very soon, most probably by the end of this month. So currently we have 2 batches running, and the third batch is coming up. Okay, so don't forget to like while you are having a discussion, while you're looking at it. Likes is all that keeps us going. Now let's move to DI. Now in the case of DI sets, again, just like LR, we have got a varieties of data interpretation sets, right? So DI की बात करते हैं. In the case of DI, you get table based questions, right? Then you get bar graph based, you get line graph based, you get pie charts. Then you get mixed graphs. Mixed graphs would mean not only the table, but a table and a bar graph, a line graph and a pie chart. So at least 2 graphs. Okay. So this is, and then there are going to be miscellaneous types. Miscellaneous types would mean scatter diagrams, or, Gantt chart, or, maybe the exploding sun graph, right? So there are varieties of graphs that you can read upon. So where to practice from those? The best place is your Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. So if you use those, if you have certain data, if you have made a table, you can convert it into data charts. You have an option over there. So the best way is to use it and see how things change, how every data point is related to some other data point within the same chart, between the 2 axes, between 3 axes. So wahan se you can practice. Of course, you have got tons of materials and books available. Now, this is based on what kind of representation is given, right? Next, it comes to what kind of logic you have to apply in order to solve these. So one is going to be pure calculation based, another is going to be reasoning based. So in the recent years, I will say in the last 6 to 7 years, CAT has not giving a lot of, so there are 4 sets, right? 6 questions, 6 questions, 4 questions, 4 questions, 4 set hote hain LRDI section mein. So out of these 4 sets, only one of these sets, whether it's a 4 question or a 6 question, it's going to be a pure DI set. Normally, तो DI का weightage half होना चाहिए. 2 questions should be pure DI and 2 questions should be pure LR. But now that doesn't happen. One set will be pure DI, and the remaining 3 sets में से 2 sets are going to be pure reasoning, and 1 set is going to be reasoning based DI or DI based reasoning. DI based reasoning का मतलब ये हो गया, ये जो analytical reasoning करा हमने, calculation based reasoning, okay? And then you have got reasoning based DI, as in you don't know whether calculation is more important or the reasoning is more important in such sets, okay? Out of these, the maximum weightage goes to tables. So ये 50% तो at least है, okay? Then bar graphs and line graphs, they form the next weightage 30%, but if I individually break it down, it's 15-15 on an average, right? Then you have got pie charts as 10% weightage, and then you've got mixed and miscellaneous, which is 10%. Now remember, the miscellaneous type DIs, as in 3-axis DI, or maybe if it's a scatter diagram, or maybe let's say if it's a Gantt chart, or whether it is stocks and shares, you guys must have come across those boxes and whisker graph, right? Dekha hoga, but what does first quartile mean? What does the second quartile mean? What does the third quartile mean? And how they are arranged? These types of miscellaneous sets are more prevalent in XAT. So CAT doesn't experiment a lot, but XAT does. The first time scatter diagram was there in DI, it was in XAT first. CAT mein baad mein aaya. Similarly, a 3-axis chart, it first came in XAT. And then CAT was like, chalo, XAT ne de diya, let's also give it. So 1 or 2 years later, CAT gave it. So miscellaneous types, aapko agar practice karni hai, then you have got tons of material with us. So you can practice from there. And you can simply search what are the different DI types that you get, what are the different representations you get. And you should know it. So the best way is to, the best way to learn is to actually read about those and solve questions related to those on a regular basis. Not the problems that have come in the question, but I'm talking more about real life scenario. So anyone who is aware of how box and whisker charts are read, understood, they will never face a difficulty. It's going to be easy peasy for them in the exam. Unko lagega ki this is something that I do on a regular basis, right? So if you study stocks and shares and you know how things move, the moving average graph, तो आपको पता है कैसे करना है. The person who is seeing it for the first time in the exam will panic. Well, like, I have never seen this. I have no idea what every point means. What does a box mean? What does a whisker mean? What does the area of a bubble graph mean? Should I use the pi over there, or pi is not relevant, but it's a circle? I should use pi, right? So, ज़्यादा varieties करो आप. When it comes to calculation and reasoning based, it's 50-50. As in, if you are going to get 2 sets of DI, one DI will be calculation based, one DI is going to be reasoning based. ये done deal है. ये होना ही होना है. Next year, suppose there are not 4 sets, but let's say 6 sets, and the paper pattern changes to 3 hours, just like we had back in 2018-19. So, the number of questions, the number of sets will increase, right? So you will have a 6 set, 1 hour duration, 6 sets. So 6 sets भी अगर होंगे तो 6 में से 3 pure reasoning, 3 DI, but out of those 3 DI, 2 will be pure DI, 1 will be again reasoning based DI. So reasoning based sets, they are more prevalent. Now, the best way to practice DI is you should be very, very good with arithmetic and approximations. बहुत ही ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Now, when it comes to approximations, you should be very good with approximations of fractions and percentages. You should be very good with ratios. You should be very good with averages. उसके बिना कोई चारा नहीं है. So, the only way you can save some time for reasoning sets is if you can solve your first DI set, the pure DI, एक set जो होगा, within 5 to 7 minutes. And it's very much possible that you will be able to solve it. If it's a 6 question set, maximum 8 to 10 minutes लगेंगे, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं. So out of a 40 minutes duration, assuming next year CAT is going to be the same as this year's, so if you are able to solve one set, DI set will be 6 questions ka within 10 minutes, so you have half an hour, 15 minutes for each of the 4 question sets of LR, which is good enough time. I will not say it's a lot, but if you have practiced enough, it will definitely help. Now comes in how should we start the preparation? किधर से पढ़े, क्या पढ़े, कितना पढ़े, LRDI. Now, if it comes to verbal, this is something that most of you have been reading, studying, even without realizing that you actually are studying for this purpose. When you are reading newspapers, when you are reading articles online, when you are going through a forum, YouTube पे देखते होगे तो English में वो देखते होगे ना. You must be watching movies, Bollywood, Hollywood, Tollywood. So they do speak English, so you understand it. Okay, all you have to do is improve your vocabulary a bit, so that you understand certain words. You understand what does sometimes some random phrase mean, and then you have to increase your reading speed. So जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ने की आदत डालनी है. Because if in order to read an RC, if you take 7 to 8 minutes, तो वही काम खत्म हो गया ना, कुछ नहीं हो रहा हो. You're not going to get a lot of score because you're reading it, then you're going to solve it, you will read it again. तो half an hour में एक RC सेट करोगे तो नहीं चलेगा, right? So reading speed is something that you need to increase. Now, when it comes to reading speed, suppose if I read whatever is written at the bottom bar right now. It is written BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT 2022 Marathon, 8 hours non-stop CAT Marathon session, live on 21st November, 22nd November, 11 AM to 7 PM. मैंने पढ़ लिया, but do I remember everything that I read? मेरे को पता है? Can I speak it again in the same sequence, or even not in the same sequence? Do I remember important points? I remember it. It is an 8-hour session. I also remember it was from 11 AM to 7 PM, and I remember it was 21st, 22nd November. So मेरे को ये पता है. And it is by BYJU'S Exam Prep, which is obviously easier for me because I am, from the same company, I am doing the same thing. But I'm just giving an example as to when you're reading it, and when you're reading it quick, are you able to comprehend? समझ पा रहे हो simultaneously? That is very important. And this is not important when it comes to VRC only. केवल RC के लिए true नहीं है. When you are reading LR sets, the paragraph is given, then you have got additional supporting statements. वो भी तो एक बार में पढ़ के समझना है ना. 10 बार तो नहीं पढ़ना हमें. Time क्यों waste कर रहे हैं? When I'm reading a question on quant, which is like 4 lines long, ठीक है? पेपर में 4 लाइन का दिख रहा है. मेरे को पढ़ने first time I'm going to read it, second time I'm going to read it again to understand what are the numbers given, third time I'm going to read it again while writing the equation. तो लगता नहीं कि उधर में अपन 1.5-2 minutes waste कर दिया. How about I read it once, I know what concept it is from, I kind of understand which formula it may use, or it may not even use a formula. Options will be good enough. So I will be able to solve it within 1 minute, including reading the question. So entire paper of CAT has to do with 2 things. Can you understand as you read? And secondly, can you apply reasoning, logic? Calculation का एग्जाम नहीं है ये आपका vocabulary और grammar का एग्जाम नहीं है. It's more about reasoning, and it's more about understanding things as you read, because that's what is required when you get into an MBA college and once you join a company. आपको एक report दिया जाएगा. You are not going to study it for the entire day, right? All you have to do is skim through it, understand. आपको एक स्कैनर की तरह काम करना है आगे चल के फ्यूचर में. वो अभी से प्रिपरेशन चाहिए. And if you are already prepared for that kind of job, you will be able to ace the exam. That's how the IIMs know and the good colleges know कि बच्चा एग्जाम में अच्छा लाया है तो he is able to skim through the pages, right? Now, the preparation, where to start? So, you shouldn't care whether you like puzzles or not. Start doing puzzles. Online जाओ, puzzles type करो search में. You will get hundreds and thousands of different websites where there are tons of puzzles available. Same type of puzzles, varieties of puzzles, very difficult puzzles, very easy, simple, weird puzzles. But do all of them. The more you do, the more your brain will understand how to tackle things and what kind of puzzle it is and what kind of logic you should approach. We do have certain books where, if you solve them, it will be very helpful. For example, by late Shakuntala Devi, right? And then you have got George W. Summers. ये the books आप ढूंढ सकते हो. It's available in the hard copy as well as it's available online. The PDF is available online, right? I believe we already had this series on Shakuntala Devi puzzles. We had like 6 to 7 sessions, right? Where we used to discuss 5 to 6 puzzles in every session. So that is not enough. Shakuntala Devi has got 2 books. In her life, she has written 2 books that were published. Both were on puzzles. तो आप वो कर सकते हो. Now remember, puzzles and riddles are 2 different things. Riddles has got more to do with the language involved, while puzzle has got more to do with the reasoning involved. तो हमें language वाला नहीं करना, हमें reasoning वाला करना. So riddles कम करना. So if you come across a website or some particular content where it says, okay, these are 10 riddles, avoid those. Don't waste your time on those. After you are done with puzzles, the next thing, whether you like it or not, you will have to watch games. What kind of games? And you should know the rules and the terms used. So सबसे पहले तो क्रिकेट भाई बहुत जरूरी है. Whenever the questions have come in the exam, when it comes to games, 90% of the questions have been related to cricket. If you get a set from cricket, whether it's LR based or DI based, और आपको पता ही नहीं है कि run batting average क्या होता है, how to calculate it, कैसे solve करोगे? छोड़ दोगे. And people who know it will be like, this was the easiest set, 5 minutes के अंदर हो गया, and you couldn't solve it. So this is not an excuse that I don't like cricket, my parents don't let me watch it. See, watching each and every match just because you want to see that thrill of who is winning, who is losing, that's of course something that you shouldn't do. But if you have never watched it, watch it, ask questions from your friends or siblings or parents ki, what is this? Ye kya ho gaya? Right? Understand the rules of the game. The next one is hockey. The next one is football. So these are outdoor games, right? If possible, please do also look into table tennis and lawn tennis. We have had never a question from either one of these, but that doesn't mean कि आ नहीं सकता. So if you know what it uses, if you know what an advantage is, so it is going to be very easy for you. These are outdoor games. Now, when it comes to indoor games, you should be very much aware about chess. You must be very much aware about Ludo and snakes and ladders, right? ये तो मेरे ख्याल से सबने खेला होगा. You should be very much aware of playing cards. This is again very, very important. 95% of the times, if there is a question from indoor games, it will be from playing cards. You get questions from permutation and combination and probability also, as a matter of fact, from playing cards, right? So playing cards बहुत important है indoor games में से. Apart from these, you do have certain board games, as in you can have checkers. Okay. You have tons of other games as well. I don't think you will be given a set based on other board games. नहीं, Monopoly वगैरह नहीं आने वाला, ठीक है? Because they will have to draw the board, or they will have to assume you know exactly where the cells and what they mean. So वो तो नहीं आने वाला. Now, when I'm saying that these are the games, outdoor and indoor games you should be aware of, they may give you a very different game that doesn't even exist. They have just made the game for you, but they will definitely tell you the rules. Now, when you read the rules and you realize, oh, ये chess की तरह दिख रहा है, it's easier for you to understand how the pieces move, right? You should know in the case of chess what is a knight, right? What is a pawn? Who is the king? Who is the queen? King move करता है कहीं भी और queen moves. Black का queen किधर रहता है, white का queen किधर रहता है, and so on and so forth, right? So ये तो करने जरूरी है. So you need to start with puzzles and watching games and playing games as soon as possible. Of course, you won't be able to play games like table tennis or football or lawn tennis. Maybe you do not have access to those. You can watch it online. You can watch it on television, right? But the indoor games you can definitely play, especially playing cards. Okay, it's very important. Playing cards बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, cricket बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. And those games that I said, board games जैसे सुडोकू वगैरह हो गया, mahjong, minesweeper, those come under puzzles. Okay, they have got very certain basic rules, but then there is a lot of reasoning involved. There is a lot of screaming that you will have to go through each and every row and column every time. So grid based puzzles ज़्यादा आपको करने हैं practice. That took too much. I have overlooked LRDI to an extent. What should be short topics to go through in 2 days? Sensei, 2 days is way too less duration to go through LRDI. But if you watch the beginning of this session, you will come across the topics that I have mentioned which carry more weightage, right? So you should target those types of sets. So you must have enrolled into a set in a test series or maybe in a comprehensive program, right? Online or offline. So you may have given mocks as well. You may have an account where you have got a lot of sectional or topic tests. So solve those and solve only those types of sets which I have discussed initially. Okay. Raj, I will be taking sessions on YouTube, but then I will not be discussing all the concepts. Okay, because normally koi concept mein 1.5 to 2 hours lagte hain. For example, if I start teaching games and tournament, it's going to take me 6 hours of session, right? तो वो नहीं होता है. So we discuss a bit of concept and then we solve questions. Now, how much of time do you need to devote? How many sets you need to do in LRDI? So your target should be to solve around 250 sets before your CAT 2023. The day you are done with 250 sets, you will realize automatically, actually 250 तक जाने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. By the time you are done with around 150 sets, I'm talking about LR and DI combined, okay? 125 कर लो आप 200 LR कर लो, 50 DI कर लो, but make sure that DI should not be given more importance than LR. Either it should be equal or little less. LR पे ज़्यादा ध्यान. So 250 sets, by the time you're done with 250 or less sets, you will realize that, you know, you have come across or you have solved or you have looked into the solution of all the varieties of LR and DI types that exist. I will not say all, I'll say almost all. क्योंकि अब कोई गेम कैट वाला अपने मन से बना के दे रहा है वो तो कहीं नहीं मिलेगा ना. That is a completely new concept and a completely new game, right? So I can't say all, but almost all the varieties of LR and DI, you will be solving it. Because the trick to master LRDI is you can solve an LRDI set only if you have done or if you have solved a similar set before. If you are going through an LRDI set, जिसके आसपास का भी set you have never done before, वो नहीं होने वाला most probably. Or even if you are going to solve it, it's going to take a lot of time. So when I say नहीं होने वाला है, मतलब it's not good enough for your exam from your exam perspective. Okay? So आपको 250 sets करने हैं. अब आप सोचो, अभी नवंबर मिड चल रहा, next year November end. So almost 1 year you have, let's assume that. 1 year means 365 days you have. 365 days may say, if I take out your birthdays or the day you don't feel like studying, if you are working, so you have got projects that will come up, you will not have time. If you're studying, you will have your college exams. कुछ ना कुछ तो आते रहेगा ना. So 365 days में 250 sets करना है. So no matter what, you will have to solve at least one LRDI set daily on an average. अब ये हर दिन तो नहीं हो सकता, right? So start with 2 sets every day abhi. Now these 250 sets do not include the puzzles and the games I was talking about. वो आपका extra, right? So once you're done with enough puzzles and when you ask the puzzles to your siblings or to your friends and see if they can come up with the answer, that's when you know कि, you know, it was only you who was able to figure out, or is it like others are also able to figure out? So you know the level of difficulty. कोई चीज difficult या easy कब होता है? It doesn't matter if you are able to do it easily or difficulty. No. It depends on you as compared to someone else is able to do it in more time or less time. इसको बोलते हैं ना easy or difficult. So 2 sets per day, you are going to reach there once you are done with certain puzzles. कितने दिन? Let's say 10 days of puzzles with 15-20 puzzles every day. So by the end of November, get done with the puzzles and start watching games. After that, start with 2 sets per day, abhi initially. Keep on doing this for approximately 1 month, as in by the end of December. ठीक है? End December तक आप ये करते रहो. After that, increase. So do 3 sets per day. And continue this for the next 3 months. Okay? So end of March. By the time you guys will most probably have your exams, your college exams or project वगैरह आने वाला होगा या कुछ भी है, so थोड़ा सा you'll have to improvise. After that, you will have to start with 4 sets per day. Why 4 sets per day? And this should continue for the next 3 months. And when I'm saying 3 months का मतलब 3 sets per day, I told you, no, you won't be able to solve, you won't be able to set every day for 3 sets, right? In order to solve 3 sets. वो कभी कभी gap होगा. For example, today you sat down and solved 4 sets. Fine, you had time. Tomorrow, you don't feel like it. Or maybe, there was some work that come up. So you won't be able to do it. So I'm saying on an average नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Actually, average नहीं हुआ. You should solve around 40 sets every month. वो target लेके चलो. So that in the first 6 months, you should be able to cover these 250 sets. Why by the end of June you should be done with your LRDI 250 sets? क्योंकि तब तक doesn't matter which particular mock series you have taken, the mocks will start. And by the time if you have not started it, you are going to face a lot of issue जब आप mocks कर रहे होगे. एक set नहीं हो रहा. You struggle a lot and eventually you are able to solve 1 set. Then you try it for the second one. And by the time you reach to that extent when you solve 2 sets, तब तक August, September आ चुका होता है. And then the problem arises, then people start panicking कि अभी August, September आ गया, we have another 2 months to go only or 2.5 months. And I'm only stuck at 2 sets. मेरे को 3 sets हो ही नहीं रहे because 3 sets is your target. And when you're solving 1 set and by the time you're able to solve 2 sets, it doesn't happen in the very next mock. It doesn't happen overnight. आपको 1-2 महीने लगते हैं वहां से वहां जाने में. 5 mocks you will require, 4 mocks you will require to improve your speed. And उस समय college final semester exams, maybe something else has come up, तो फिर वो excuses बन के रह जाते हैं. So start as early as possible. So people will say, अरे नहीं अभी कहाँ कुछ पढ़ना शुरू मत करो, don't join any place, online, offline, doesn't matter. Start somewhere in the month of May or June. People, they join in the month of August and by the beginning or mid of November, they are able to cover all the syllabus and they do pretty well in their CAT exam. But those are above average or brilliant students. For an average student, it takes generally 5 to 6 months of preparation when I include VRC, LRDI and Quant, all 3. 6 months लगते हैं. If you think that you have no idea about CAT preparation, competitive exams, Quant, बहुत समय हो गया करे हुए, I hate maths, my English is not good, I have never solved LR sets, तो आपको 6 months नहीं, आपको ज़्यादा चाहिए. I'm not saying that you are below average, but you have no idea about that. Somebody who has an idea, a bit of an idea of how things work, they take 6 months. English is not something that will happen in a month's time. Quant हो सकता है 1 महीने के अंदर, 2 महीने में. LRDI can happen in 2 months' time. VRs is not going to happen. So if I talk about the entire syllabus, it generally takes more than 6 months. ठीक है? So by the time you are done with this, and this should be your target, ये हो गया ना, तो उसके बाद you will never face issue in LRDI. The questions that you may have right now in your mind or you will have, those questions will never arise. You're not going to be in the bulk of the students who will be facing issues. ठीक है? Okay. So, like I discussed, the important topics when it comes to DI, the important topics when it comes to LR, what are their weightages, how many are good attempts, what are the level of difficulties. अच्छा, DI का LOD के बारे में discuss कर लेते हैं. So again, level of difficulty being 1, 2, 3, 1 being easy, 2 being moderate, and 3 being difficult. इनमें से the table based, it's going to be moderate generally on an average, especially if you have missing data. Okay, bar graph and line graph, these are moderate, easy to moderate. Pie charts, they are moderate. Mixed ones or miscellaneous ones are moderate to difficult. So worst case, you will have one set from miscellaneous to mixed. Why they are difficult? क्योंकि हमने कभी वो practice नहीं करा. We don't come across a lot of bubble graphs in our daily life. I don't know how many of you are even aware of what bubble graphs are. Grand chart क्या होता है पता भी है कि नहीं? That's the reason why they are considered as difficult, because you don't get enough examples to practice even. Okay? ठीक है. So that's all from my side. So we are going to start our marathon, 8 hours non-stop, entire revision of Quant, LRDI and VARC on 21st and 22nd of this month. So it will start at 11 a.m. and it will go on until 7 p.m. Okay. So everybody, please make sure that you tune in to our channel by subscribing it and letting the notification on, so that you are notified as to when the session starts. Okay. It will be taken by 4 of us and we are going to revise all the 3 sections. So if you haven't revised the topics yet and you are still not, you have revised only a part of it and you're like, time itna kam hai. I'm not able to revise everything and I don't have enough time. Make sure that you stay there for 8 hours so that the entire revision will be done. Now, this revision is not the concept revision. Concepts will be discussed as required, but it's more about questions, solving them, 2 approaches, 2 different ways to solve it, 3 different ways to solve it, smart ways to solve it. So it's about the revision that you will go through all of it. Okay, we are going to cover the entire syllabus. So it's not that only geometry will be discussed or only PNC will not be discussed. Everything is going to be discussed. We are going to practice important questions, important as in we are making sure that the questions are of CAT difficulty level, because sometimes questions lad jate hain. I'm saying the language and the concept use, not the exact number. Exact number bhi lad jaye to bahut achhi baat hai. So the questions that we are going to do on 21st and 22nd, those questions are going to be very, very helpful in your CAT. Okay. And the paper solving skills, right? Kaise solve karna. So make sure that you attend it. Also, on the day of CAT exam, okay, we will have our detailed analysis of the CAT paper for each of the 3 slots. Slot 1 analysis will happen at 12:30, slot 2 at 4:30, slot 3 at 8:30 p.m. on the same day. We'll be doing section-wise analysis, not just one section. We will give you a CAT score calculator, as in we'll give you a link wherein you can put in the options that you have marked for those questions, and we will tell you how much score you are going to get even before CAT does. We are going to predict your percentile as well. Okay, and this is going to be accurate. Accurate matlab accurate. If we say, if you have marked the options which you actually marked in CAT, and if we say that you are going to get an 88 marks raw score, तो आपको 88 ही आएगा actually. ठीक है? So we will be discussing memory based questions. So this tells us we will not be duplicating the exact question which had come in CAT, but it's more about this was the language, okay, and our data was something like this. तो हम लोग उसको reframe कर देंगे नए तरीके से. We will also tell you expected cutoffs. Expected cutoffs here would mean that at what score, what percentile should you expect. ठीक है? And what will be good attempts? Good attempts as in 80 percentile के लिए कितने attempt करने चाहिए थे, 90 के लिए कितने, 95 के लिए कितने, 99 के लिए कितने, and so on. And people who are targeting CAT 2023, we are going to start, and we have just begun as in uski pehli class bhi nahi hui hai, the comprehensive program. Okay, in that you get your tablet, okay, wherein you have got a lot of live sessions that you can watch from. You get more than 70 marks, including your CAT as well as non-CAT exams. You get around 10,000 questions for practice. The recorded lectures will be there. So every lecture that happens, it is recorded and you can watch it on your tablet. And you will be given books for each of the 3 sections. We will help you with GDPI preparation. This is important. Not a lot of places help you with that. You will be also given the notes that the teachers use, and the formula ebook, previous year papers are all there on your tablet. And if you are looking to buy the test series with 20 CAT and 50 non-CAT mock tests, because there are a lot of non-CAT exams that happen, so make sure that you buy it. The link to the app, to download the app where you can get all of this, is given in the description below, and it is also spammed in the chat. Okay, and from 14th November, every day at 7 p.m. you can join our YouTube video series. This is for Last Lap to CAT 2022. So for this year CAT. So 14th November at 7 p.m. Mr. Saral is going to revise algebra concepts through questions. Next day, 15th November, Saral sir is again going to revise arithmetic through questions. Next day, he is going to talk about grid-based problems, which is a part of your LRDI. Gaurav Gupta is going to take section of LRDI. So it's CAT mock 19, QA, VRC. So mock 19 जो हम लोगों ने करा था, उनका discussion होगा. And Gautam Baba is going to take a session 7 days to CAT on 20th November. So every day at 7 p.m. please make sure that you tune in for this entire 1 week, right? And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and do join our Telegram channel, which is BYJU'S MBA Doubts. And you can download our app and get in touch with a counselor. Let them know what are your requirements, how they may be of help to you. So the link is given in the description below. Make sure you do that. Let me look at the questions. Okay, no doubt as such. Thank you. That's all from my side. Signing off. Take care.